I recently started learning about mirror meditation, and it was a curious approach of myself doing or learning myself from meditating in front of the mirror. Mirror meditation is a meditation where you sit in front of a mirror and looking at yourself as a third person's perspective and trying to understand yourself with any emotions that reside in your body and trying to bring out that emotion, the personality or situation, and try to look at it as a third person's point of view and believe that your reality was created and is created or being created by the thoughts in your mind. And I started doing that. It's been about a couple weeks. So I cannot say that for sure that I experienced the full aspect of it. But after I turned 30, I started doing a lot of, I think everybody's pretty much the same nowadays, probably after COVID, having been given a lot of time to think about their life or their self. But for me, especially after I turned 30, I started really studying myself, studying or doing some type of research about who I am, why am I this way, the way I am, and so and so. I'm not a psychologist, nor I have done extensive research on people, so I still am unsure who I am. But from the studies and learnings that I have done, I carefully look at my family history. I very carefully, because I don't want to diagnose somebody without having an experience or a degree. I have realized that my father and my father's side of family has tendency to be a narcissist. And my mother's side of family have tendency to be an empath or so-called egoist. I'm not too familiar with none of these vocabulary, however, or none of these terms. However, I recognize a lot of similarity. So, and I was first daughter of these two individuals that I realized that I actually have both sides of personality, like almost I switch in between. But however, I was raised in South Korea up until I was 17, and I moved to America to study abroad and basically raised myself since then. And I'm 33 years old now. With this very special situation, I believe that my personality has been built on the various situations, the various moments in my life. And I'm just here to share my life and my experience, hoping to help myself from it and hoping to help others who are curious about life in general. I started thinking about all of the past experience or past incidents or accidents or just anything that might have contributed to my personality or the way I am. And when I was doing the mirror meditation, surprisingly, I started remembering a lot of stuff. And I mean, I tried, of course, but it sucks because no matter how far I am trying to remember, I could not remember before I was 5. And the basic concept of mirror meditation is that you are trying to go back and understand what's been closed inside of your amygdala, which is the tiny little pea-sized part of our brain that contains all kinds of emotions and personality, and basically believed to be closed, believed to only develop up until your age 5. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a psychologist, but so I was trying my best to go back in time when I was 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. I hear from people who remembers they're like 2 or 3. It was hard to reach that point to remember my 5-year-old self. But I remember a picture. My mom has been taking extensive amount of pictures, like seriously, literally, like she has taken a lot of pictures. And I remember looking at it, but I remember there was missing time between my age probably 1 to 4 or 5, because I see pictures of myself when I was 5. I was spending time with this person who I don't know, that I used to call grandma or 할머니. In South Korea, we call anybody that's grandma's age or over 70 nowadays, we just refer to them as 할머니, which means grandma. I hope somebody understands. But yeah, this grandma I was next to, this picture. So, you know, back in the days, there's like a picture that you have to go to photographer to print those pictures, right? So if she hadn't print out those pictures, I wouldn't have ever been able to see it. So there's these pictures. So I remember this one specific picture that I was being yelled at by this grandma that I don't know, that I don't even know anymore that exists. I don't even know who she is. She's not even related to us. I believe she was a landlord of my mom and dad. And I remember this picture, this grandma was yelling at me and I was eating ice cream or something, just standing there. And I believe that's around my age 5. And a slight memory was that we were living in a small area, very small, tiny small area of someone's house. Probably it's hers. We were living in like my dad's car, or I'm not sure, or we were moving. And I remember this small tiny space where we were only able to put a bed, and 3 of us were living. Oh, so that could be probably my age 3, because my brother was born 3 years after I was born. So that's probably when my brother was not, maybe my brother was a baby. I don't remember, but that's how far I can remember. What I'm trying to say by that is maybe I went through some major life experience during that moment of my life. I think a lot of first child like myself understands, probably went through the similar situation, because that's the time when our parents go through major life change. When a child is born, first child of their life is born, they're still very immature. They're still learning about their life. Most of the time I'm talking about. There might be a first child who was born in a perfect situation, perfect setting. But for me, it was, I guess my dad and my mom was still struggling, or financially, emotionally. And I was there as a third person watching whatever is going on. Don't get me wrong, my mom and dad are very, very responsible people. Not trying to disclose anybody's career or life situation here, but my dad, as far as I can remember, my dad was employed by one of the biggest telecom companies in South Korea, and he graduated when he was in his early 50s. In South Korea, there's a very bad culture where once you turn 50 or even late 40s, you cannot be working at a company. I remember my dad telling me that he's been getting letters every year giving him an option to retire now and receive certain sum of money. I mean, obviously it's a small country, he's got to give younger people the opportunity. people in America, probably it's very hard for them to understand, because in America you work on, I've seen somebody working even in their 80s. So, but yeah, my dad was employed probably 20 years, worked for this company for a long time. It was his life. And my mom was, as far as I can remember, she's done a couple of jobs where, like, she was a, cosmetic beauty specialist, going to clients' home and selling cosmetic products, but like part-time. Like, she was never really worked for a company or anything like that. She was just a stay-home mother. And the reason why I turned this camera on today, what triggered me, I mean, I've always wanted to do some type of YouTube video, but about my life, because I believe that my life is very important to me, and I am very into learning about other people's lives and studying about my own personal life. I'm very interested in psychology, philosophy, stuff like that. And so the reason why I came on and sat in front of a camera is to document myself. Because today when I was doing, just right when I woke up today, recently, maybe this is a side note, maybe it's a side effect of mirror meditation, I get extremely tired and I struggle waking up from my dreams. I've been having very vivid dreams. And I found out that I was able to control my dreams. And I was able to continue on with my dreams. Like, if I were to wake up in between my dreams, I was able to go back to where it stopped and continue on. And was able to control my dreams just a little bit, not this whole situation, but, and I realized that today's dream, I kind of learned a little bit from my dream about my personality, or about why things are happening the way it is. Because mirror meditation, the basic theory of it is your life is your reality that created from your thoughts and your beliefs and the things that you suppressed, the emotions that you didn't express. So you are to express your feelings and your emotions and whatever that's going on, freely, like let it go or let it out in front of the mirror. And so right after I woke up from my dream, I sat in front of my mirror and I just look at myself. I don't have any idea what to say, but I just look in my mirror and going through my thoughts. And I started thinking about how I was when I was younger. Like, my dad was always angry at my mom. He was such a great person to many others outside of our family. He wasn't always angry at me or my brother, but he was always angry at my mom. He was always telling my mom what to do. Every time he comes home, little things will bother him, such as just let's say, for example, newspaper was on top of our dining table, he will start bitching at my mom about how newspapers are not supposed to be on top of dining table, how she should do more laundry, or how unorganized she is, how our fridge looks so unorganized, how our bathroom looks so dirty, even though it was very effing clean. Something will bother him and he will start his bickering the whole night. And my mom don't say a thing back and start cleaning, start reorganizing, start making dinner, presenting it in front of him. And me and my brother are just being quiet because we were scared that it might contribute into putting gasoline in the fire. We will quietly sit next to my dad and start eating the meal. And he turns on the TV and a funny episode of a drama comes out or a sitcom. He will start laughing and happy. And we were finally able to start laughing along with my dad, but still scared to fully express our feelings because we won't know when it would irritate him. My dad is not a bad person, or I'm not trying to portray a bad image of him, but that was pretty much the atmosphere of my family life. And I started talking back to him when I was probably in middle school. I'll get very angry with him. He used to never let me go out with my friends. Like when I was 7 or 8, I remember I was able to hang out with my friends, but before my dad got home. When my dad comes home and if I'm not there, I'm in trouble. And on Sundays when my dad is home, there's no way I could go out, hang out with my friends. I will have to stay home, just listen to. In South Korea, there are a lot of people living in an apartment, like high-rise apartments. I was living on the 8th floor, and the apartments are constructed like square, and in the middle of the apartment buildings there's a playground, and I can hear my friends hanging out in the playground, and I'm just inside of my room hating on my dad. Most of my adolescent life, I secretly hated my dad and secretly wanting to kill my dad. I wish my dad died, and just very violent stuff, you know. And yeah, I wished my dad died. My dad was very strict. Another episode I remember, I was very proud of myself when probably I was in my 5th or 6th grade or middle school, around teenage years. I scored 100% on my English exam that was very hard, in my opinion. And I believe, and I remember I was one of the few who got 100% on English exam, and I was very happy and proud of myself, and I wanted to show off. And not that I show it off to my friends, because my personality, I can't really show off my whatever to other people, but to my family, I was very proud of myself. So I posted that exam, the result of my exam, in front of my door, and how the apartment where we were living, how it was constructed. The front door, as soon as my dad enters the front door, there's the closet for shoes, whatever, and the front door faces my door, the door of my room. As soon as my dad enters, he will be able to see it. So it was my purpose to put it up there to obviously make my dad happy and be congratulated too at the same time. But it went wrong. It was completely different reality than I expected. My dad saw it. He told me to come out. I don't quite remember if he ripped it off or if he crushed it. He told me, you are full of yourself. You shouldn't be doing this. This is normal. How hard it is for you to get 100% on a English quiz. I was humiliated. I was told I was full of myself. I was just all kinds of stuff. I don't know exactly what he said, but I remember the emotions, the situation, how I felt. He was basically trying to make me feel guilty of posting that on my door. My mom, on the other hand, she was always the encourager. She encouraged me. She was always like, I'm a perfectionist, and in South Korea, if you understand, it's very competitive. Education is the key to success. That's what people believe. I don't know about nowadays, but when it was my time, I would not sleep when it was close to exam day. My mom would stay up with me. And I would expect my mom to stay up with me, which is messed up. Looking back, my mom would always have snacks ready when I got home. And I would expect that, which is another messed up thing. I would say, or I would think that, oh, my mom is a stay-home mother. That's her job. And I was basically resembling my dad. I would take my clothes off right after I come home, because in South Korea, after once you start middle school, you start wearing uniforms. And I remember I had like 2 or 3 uniforms. Uniforms are expensive, so a lot of people who struggle financially, don't even get to have 2 or 3 pairs of uniforms. But I was fortunate to have, I think, 3 uniforms, and I didn't like to wear unclean uniform. Every day I have to wear fresh, washed uniform. After I get home, I'll take my uniform off, throw it in front of the laundry room. I wouldn't even throw it inside the laundry basket or laundry room. In front of the laundry door, I would just throw it, my underwear, everything, just throw it there, and for my mom to pick it up and wash it. Arrogant child, very arrogant, right? And I also remember my mom was trying to discipline me, maybe because I got into a fight with my brother. My mom was trying to discipline me, and I hit her back, type of thing. And also, there was an art class, and I was not that good. I was not as good as I would want to be, I should say, because not everybody is good at art. In fact, I was pretty horrible. I mean, I wasn't that horrible, but I was horrible. My mom was very artistic, and she's helped me with my art project numerous times. And this one time she helped me, I got an A. Like, I placed an A, and my art teacher wanted to keep that art and present it at the end year art exhibition and type of thing. It's just very, so today when I was doing the mirror meditation, I was like remembering my childhood. I was trying to reflect how my parents were, how my dad was, how my mom was, how it's affecting me right now. I myself, briefly, I lost my child custody, physical custody of my beautiful 2 daughters to a paternal aunt of my ex-husband. I was physically abused and emotionally abused by my ex-husband. Since I was pregnant with my first daughter. I tried to escape numerous times, and my friends were trying to help me. But the fact that I didn't have my parents here in America, it made it very difficult for myself to leave my ex-husband. And his family being close physically contributed to me not able to fully independently raise my children. If his family was not close or living in America either, I might have been able to raise my kids on my own with the help from the government or any sort of help. Or I may have went back to Korea with my kids, because my ex was not financially helpful, emotionally helpful. we can see that my thoughts are firing and firing here and there. But what I'm trying to make it sense is that right now, when I look back on the happenings in my life, right now, the guardians of my children, which is the paternal aunt and uncle of my ex-husband, are claiming that my children do not wish to speak to me. I have always been able to speak to my first daughter almost every week ever since she was 4 or 5, despite the fact that they didn't allow. I pushed it so I would stay in connect with my daughters. And up until last year, summer, I visited my daughters. My younger daughter is not really friendly with me, which I understand because she was very young. And without going into much detail, she doesn't want to see me. She doesn't want to talk to me. But quite frankly, through a game app called Roblox, she reached out to me a couple of times. About 3 months ago, she reached out to me, my younger daughter, and she told me that she started her period. I was so mesmerized. I was so happy and joy. I was experiencing so much joy because she finally reached out to me, and her very important moment she shared with me. So I felt that, yeah, my daughter, actually, she needs me. She wants me. She remembers me, no matter what it shows on the outside. And a few times she reached out to me. Secretly, obviously. But after she told me about her period and she says she doesn't even have a bra, you know, as a woman, it's embarrassing to release that kind of information to strangers. So obviously I am the most comfortable. I'm her mother. So I sent her a big package of, you know, the necessities and the things that she wanted. And after that, I find that her Roblox ID is erased. And even my first daughter, which the guardians claim, I didn't hear that from my daughters, but the guardians messaged me that they don't want to talk to me anymore. And they don't want to force my kids to talk to me. So I am where I am right now. And when I learned about mirror meditation, I started digging in. Why am I creating this kind of reality myself? And that's when I started looking at how my parents were and how I was when I was a child. And I've been learning about narcissists, empath, egoist, INFP/T, which is who I am. Although I believe that you cannot discriminate people for just a simple test. Personalities are created by numerous facts. One person cannot always be fully that. And when I look at myself, I have perspective of my personality consists of a slight bit of narcissism, not just because of my dad, the how the curriculum is formed in South Korea. They always want you to be number one, very competitive. They always talk shit about people who don't study, people who place lower grades. It's allowed socially, culturally, talk shit about those people who don't do well. And also, I have the motherly side from my mom, who's an empath, who's a lover, who's a giver. I also remember, so yeah, how my children are. My younger daughter, for example, last summer when I visited, I can see that she wants to talk to me. I can see that she wants to have a relationship with me, but her situation is pushing me back. I was trying to take a photo of myself and her when I encountered at my first daughter's baseball game. I approached to her and I was like, "Hey, Keisha, let's take a picture." And she was like, "I don't want to do anything with your side of family. I don't want to do anything of my Korean side." A 10-year-old says that. And I was like, wow, what have I done to her? But, you know, my inability to win, my inability to thrive, I understand. She probably wished that I was stronger. Because looking back after doing mirror meditation, I realized when I was younger, when I was in elementary, my mom was doing a lot of things within my elementary school. She was the president of the mothers group in the elementary school. You know those mother groups that always bring flowers on any event day for the school. You know, those moms who participate a lot. My mom was that. My mom was always there. My mom was having a lot of moms come to our home and teaching them how to make flowers out of stocking. You know, those stockings that you don't wear anymore, you know, because back then a lot of South Korean women, they wear stockings. And just little memories. But I remember I didn't like that. I hated that. I didn't support her. I wish she didn't come to my school. I wish she wasn't one of the leaders in the mothers group. I was embarrassed of her. There was this one time she went up on the stage where it was a field day or field trip day. She went up on the stage and it was like a dance competition, and she was dancing and she was doing this funny dance, and I cried because I was so embarrassed of her. I didn't want her to be in front of everybody. I felt like everyone was making fun of her and me for being in front of everybody. And I was crying, and my friends were like, "Isn't that your mom? Oh my gosh, your mom is so funny. Your mom is that." And I was so embarrassed and I cried. And they were like, "Why are you crying?" Looking back, I want to just freaking I don't like myself. It's a great thing if your parents are trying to involved in your life as much as they can, but I was embarrassed. So funny, right? I should have felt the love that my mom had for me, but I didn't. Maybe there was something missing for me as a child. Because when I'm home, my dad is not happy and talking crap to my mom. So maybe I was not able to balance that out. I saw the unbalance, I saw the dark side, and I was probably thinking to myself that those things don't matter. I want to be loved inside of my house, my home, privately, maybe. So looking back my childhood, I completely understand why it's going on right now, what's going on right now, and why it's happening. Because my younger daughter's behavior resembles when I was young. Taking it out on the mother who is trying to give, trying to make her happy, because the mother knows that it's unfortunate, but let's try to be happy. But the young baby mind doesn't see, or probably sees more than what adults see. Probably says that what I want is not that. What I want is a happy family. But as much as I wanted to stay in a relationship and save our family, the violence was not safe to be in. What I'm thankful for is my dad never physically hurt my mom, but my dad used to throw things, used to yell and scream and break things. That's still physical abuse, right? He never put hands on her, but throwing things, yelling and screaming, that's a scary moment. I remember I was in my room, laying on the bed with my brother, just praying. And my brother was like, I'm scared. And I was like, it's okay, we are gonna be okay. Let's pray. It was the day when my mom came home a little bit late because she had a little bit of date night with her girls. And my mom called all the girls that she hung out with and tell them, this is what happens to her if you take her out. She lost all of her friends. Because my dad didn't want her to enjoy herself. I always told myself I will never live like my mom. I even told my mom when I was younger, I remember telling her, why don't you divorce him? Why don't you leave him? I'm okay. I wanted my mom to divorce him. But she didn't. Because she didn't want to break the family. And the society contributes to that too. Because in South Korea, people talk shit about kids who have divorced parents more than kids who live in a chaotic home. It's okay to divorce. It's okay to break the family. As long as you are happy, single parent homes are not troublesome. It's not problematic. It's actually more healthy compared to living in a chaotic home and one person just taking it all in and expressing their emotions. Yeah, of course, financially we would have struggled because my mom was not college graduate. My mom was not as successful as my dad. But our life would have been happier. Who knows? Yeah, she probably need a lot of help from her relatives and her family. But I believe that the family needed to be responsible. That's what family is for. Not siding with the narcissistic parent or violent parent, but supporting who that is suffering. I was overstaying my student visa when I was going through divorce and fighting for my rights to parent my kids. The judge, in my case, without due process, he allowed the paternal aunt and uncle to have temporary custody of my children. On the day my ex-husband was arrested with the children inside his car or his home, I don't remember, or I don't know. I can't know. As far as I could research, I found a newspaper article where he was arrested for threatening somebody with my children in his car. Ironically, on the day of my birthday. No one notified me. I was still in the process of filing custody battle with an attorney, and the attorney told me, whoa, there is a guardianship placed on your children already. I show up to the court. At the hearing, the judge says, I have conflict of interest with the petitioner. I'm a family friend, long family friend. I went to school with their dad, with the paternal uncle's dad, that I cannot see this case. I argued, your judgment is void. Even from the start, you weren't even supposed to give them temporary custody without due process. I wasn't even notified. There was no single letter. I was in contact with the aunt. I was text messaging her where the kids are. She was playing with me, saying, oh, the kids are with the dad. You should contact the dad. When I contact the dad, his phone's turned off because he was probably inside of jail. The paternal aunt was the person who was helping me when I was trying to leave my ex-husband. I asked her, could you help me? Because I didn't want anybody else to be babysitter of my children. I was scared. She was the best person that I trusted. But she slowly started asking me, I need money. She started blaming me for financially not being there for my children. I was doing my best. I started working at a bar because I wasn't making enough as a front desk assistant at a chiropractic office. I started working at a bar so I could provide more, because obviously I was making more at a bar serving drinks to guys. I'm not trying to act as a victim. I struggled. But in front of my mirror, when I was meditating, I asked myself in the mirror, what is it? I got mad after so many blames put on me after leaving my ex, when she suggested to leave because he's violent. You either kill him or he will kill you. So I finally decided to leave. But after me leaving, she started putting myself as a target of her narcissistic personality. Started blaming me, trying to control me, telling me, oh, you are not enough, you're not a mother. And she started switching, saying I was the one who abused my ex-husband. I'm the one who was abusive. I'm a surrogate mother. And I talked back to her. And I said bad things to her too, because I was angry. I was doing my best, but she was pushing me too much. For the fact that I was trying to struggle to thrive. For somebody who was struggling with an immigration status, because I decided not to petition myself as a victim of domestic violence, or as a victim, as a wife of a perpetrator of domestic violence. Yeah, I should have been smarter and sneaky to continue on the relationship so I could receive permanent residency, that I could take better care of my children. What is right here? What is wrong here? In my head, every day I go through thousands of questions to myself, belittling my own self, praising my own self, suffocating my own self. What went wrong? Is it all me? Is it my fault? One thing for sure is I'm still alive. And I'm filming this in front of my camera and telling the world that if you are blaming yourself for something that you have done, just look at yourself. Just look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself immense love, so much love, and let yourself let out all the emotions. If you feel like blaming yourself, blame yourself. If you feel like loving yourself for everything you have done, no matter what you have done, do it. During that process, you will learn about yourself and you will come to conclusion why you are going through the reality that you have created. And you are going to slowly come to an understanding of your life. And at the end, you're going to realize that you're just a piece of flesh. Nothing in this life really matters. Your past, your current situation, your future, the fear, nothing matters. All it matters is, for me, I'm sitting in front of my camera, hoping to tell the world about my life story, whether or not whoever is ready to listen or not, whether or not, agree or not, blame or not, judge or not. Your life is your own story. It's your own book. You make it interesting, it is interesting. You make it fucked up, it's fucked up. You're the one who writes your story. You're the one. Instead of trying to blame your parents or your situation or the people in your life, look at yourself in the mirror and understand all of the people that you have created in your thoughts, your subconscious mind. Try to understand why this is happening. It's all in your thoughts. Once you understand, you're going to slowly looking at your life differently. You no longer want to fight back. Because you can sit in front of yourself and tell yourself, stop creating that reality. Because I see you, I understand, I'm here. Be in front of you and be the one to guide yourself. When you depend yourself to someone else, when you look for someone else to soothe your feelings, when you look outside source, you're creating more and more illusions. You are the only one who can understand and who can follow back, who can track back your record and tell you that this is the problem, or there is no problem at all. I hope you find and gain trust in yourself. And I can finally tell you that I find myself when I look at myself in the mirror or through the camera, that this is just reality that my subconscious mind creates, my thoughts create. Whoever that is struggling, start looking at yourself in the mirror. Talk to yourself. Don't talk to other people and hoping them to understand you. Talk to yourself and tell yourself, you will find self-confidence back again. You will find you. You will find why you can overcome. You will see yourself through all of the situation around you.